What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a video from MX191 in Florida. We're taking you around the track on a brand new KTM 150 two-stroke, super fun bike to ride. Make sure you guys stick around after the couple laps at GoPro and I'm gonna do a Q&A for my Patreon page, all on sand riding. So you guys had all types of sand questions on Patreon and I'm gonna answer all of those for you. Just wanna talk about this Alias Sport pain balm. This is CBD balm. I hurt my leg pretty bad a couple weeks ago actually teaching a class. Didn't crash, I just crushed it in between the bike and a dirt embankment. And I have a hematoma on my shin, all types of issues and swelling going on with my shin. Been using this balm twice a day. This stuff's been working wonders. Getting rid of the swelling, it's really taking the edge off the pain so I don't feel that constant throbbing as I walk around, which is an awesome, awesome thing. Cool thing is guys, you can use code AJCAT30 at aliassport.com. and you can get $12 off this bad boy, just $27. I know it looks small, but the amount you use, this thing will last quite a long time. All right guys, as always, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, well on the way to 50,000 subscribers, and enjoy the video.
Huh? Two strokes are nice in the sand because they just float. Where the four stroke, you kind of bury it sometimes. Alright, so hang tight here guys. I'm just going to do a couple laps for a GoPro thing and then I'll be right back to grab it.
checked it out and you live in the Florida area, I highly recommend go check out MX191. Awesome owner who's completely invested in making that track as good as possible. All right, so I have right here your guys' Patreon sand questions. Just gonna start rattling these things off. So Jack asked, body position when it comes to sand. When I've ridden sand, I haven't been able to figure it out. Likely, a lot of the questions are gonna kind of mirror this. Body position standing up shouldn't change. You're not leaning back, because if you lean back, the only way to go is your weight can get thrown over the front. You still wanna remain as neutral as possible. So standing up, nothing changes. You sit down, you should just be a little bit more relaxed and slightly further back with your upper body when you sit in the seat. You're not sitting further back on the seat. I'm sitting in the same spot. I'm just a little bit maybe beyond perpendicular with my upper body by a tad. Cody asked how to ride sand on a 250 versus a 450. Doesn't really change. I would recommend trying to ride taller gears on both bikes if you can, but both should be pretty similar. Matthew asked, do you still sit up on the seat in the sand? Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily want to sit on your gas cap, but I never teach anybody to sit there anyway. So you're still sitting on that kind of front upper part of your seat, maybe, let's call it 2.5 inches, 3 inches from the front of your seat. Same thing applies in the sand. Jorge, or George, spelled Jorge, so I'm guessing Jorge. Clicker settings on front and rear suspension. So good question. Suspension, normally we would go a little bit stiffer in the sand because you want it to hold up and not be blowing all the way through the stroke. It's just gonna make the bike feel like it's floating a little bit better atop the sand if it's slightly stiffer. One other thing that we'll do with suspension is lower the sag. So let's say you run 105 normally, you probably wanna drop to, let's call it 110, just to take a little bit extra weight off that front end so you're not jackknifing your front. Evan asked, how do you initiate a turn without losing the front end? Whenever I start to lean the bike in the sand, the front always pushes or knifes. You just need to get comfortable with the bike, with that front end floating a little bit. If you stay hard on the gas, it'll keep that front end light, which is what you want. And you need to commit to the lean. The more lean you commit to, the more throttle you need to apply. If you let off the gas, especially in the wrong spot, and if your body weight's in the wrong position, you're gonna put all the weight to the front end and you're gonna feel that knifing feeling no matter what. Zach asked, differences in braking for the sand. So obviously you're a little bit less on the front brake because you don't have that feel, that bite to really get aggressive with the front brake. And then one other huge tip in the sand is either don't use the rear brake going into a lot of corners, or if you do use it, you have to get off of the rear brake as early as possible. If you're dragging that rear brake into the sand, you're gonna stuff yourself into the corner and it's gonna kill all of your momentum and stand that bike up. Daryl asked how to build confidence with the young riders when it comes to the sand. Natural instinct is for youngsters to slow down. I try to use the analogy of boat when it gets on plane. The slower you go, the lower it sits in the water. Yeah, I mean, that's true, but it's kind of the same thing when I teach jumps. It's like, well, the faster you go, the easier it is, but how do I teach that and how do I instill the confidence? It's a little bit tricky until you kind of just go for it. The cool thing about sand is it's soft. So learn the right body position first of all, so you can make sure that you're in the right position to do it safely. And then you just have to commit to going a little bit faster to keep that bike light. Dustin asked, good tire references for sand. So any paddle tire, I run Maxxis, so I'd highly recommend getting the Maxxis paddle tire. Tested a couple Maxxis tires last year and ended up picking what I thought was the best. Pretty sure that's in production now, may not be. But a paddle tire will for sure help. And then on the front, just run a mid-soft. So, you know, I run the Maxxis ST, I'm pretty sure the Dunlop 33, whatever, any mid-soft tire will work. Robert asked, would picking a line in the picture above, I put a picture on Patreon of just a bunch of sand ruts, matter, or would speed and momentum through that section be more important? Line choice always matters. You want to try to pick a line that's as easy as possible. But really in the sand, it's carrying that momentum is all that matters. In the sand, the biggest thing is trying to avoid maybe ruts or sections that are really dug out to where they get to a hard and square edge, because then, especially if you have a sand tire, it's not going to hook up as well and you're going to have all types of issues. Alex asked, is it true that you should never let off the gas in the sand? No, that's not true. I mean, definitely the sand is your brakes in a sense, so when you let off the throttle, the sand is going to stop you a lot quicker. so there's less coasting and maybe there's less braking, but no, unless you're Eli Tomac or Jeffrey Hurlings, you're probably letting off the gas. Dustin asked, does your lower body grip of the bike change any in the sand? Nope, same exact thing. In the sand though, you do have to, just like riding mud, you have to be comfortable with letting that bike go where it wants. Same thing with supercross whips. You can't fight and resist the bike. Let the bike dance around, let the bike do its thing, all while gripping it with your knees. I know that's a hard thing, but. All right, Tyler Kemp, he did a full breakdown of everybody's questions and just summarized them into 7 things. I wish I'd seen this earlier. One of them is jumping techniques, similarities, and differences in the sand. So takeoff of the jump really would be the same. Landing, you definitely need to lighten the load on the front. So you need to make sure that you don't want to land like this necessarily, but you need to make sure you land super, super hard on the throttle, probably in a taller gear, and make sure you pull yourself through. If you land without enough throttle, you're going to throw your weight to the front and you could end up going over the bar, especially if you're landing in really, really deep sand. Cody asked, I have trouble with corner approach. Should I take low line or high line? Just like I teach in any condition, this is especially important in the sand, Cody, you need to make sure that you are opening up your turn, which means entering as wide as possible and making a tight turn a little bit less tight so that you don't have that stop and go effect as much. This is crazy, crazy important if you're on a 65, 85, 125, any type of slower 2-stroke, you need to carry that momentum. And final question, Nathan asked, AJ, what was the name of that song you put in the edit in your last video with the ADK guys? Well, pretty much all of the music I put on my channel is actually by my brother, Mikey C. I put his link below in all my descriptions, so check out his music. He's got some really good stuff, super talented. So yeah, if you hear a cool song in any of my videos, it's likely his. All right guys, so that's it with the questions. Thank you so much to all the Patreon members that submitted those questions. Thank you guys for all of your support. That's the reason I have this awesome camera, this awesome mic, these lights, all of this cool stuff that I don't know how to use yet, but I promise I'm committed to figuring it out. And it wouldn't be possible without you guys. If you want to join, click the link in the description to the Patreon account. It's just $2 a month. When we hit 500 patrons, which we're only about 20 away, we'll be giving away this custom AJ Catanzaro Academy jacket. This thing is unreal. Super warm. You look factory when you have it on. It's got sponsors everywhere, Lululemon, all my sponsors on the side. Giving this thing away to a lucky Patreon member when we hit 500. So make sure you guys subscribe to that, and thank you for watching. See you next week.